words, yeah, there's going to be a contradiction, but they're not all the same person. You have to find the contradiction in one person's words, and then you can point that out and say, hey, there's a little bit of an issue here. You can't complain about not having any money and also never want to go to work.
Yeah.
So listen, Reckless Ray has joined the panel. How are you
My
doing
boy.
tonight, sir?
You know, I
Wait a minute.
was trying to
Wait a minute.
hit a
Answer my
shower.
question
I just
first. Answer my question. How are you doing tonight, sir?
absolutely wonderful. Just got done
Okay.
training.
Okay, go ahead.
I was trying to take a shower and go to sleep before you called me up. I said, yes, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? You gotta listen when people talk to you. So this is an interesting conversation. You guys lambasting poor Trey up here, man. I can't. I came up to help the homie out.
He's used to it.
Hey, what area
It's-
did you want to help him out in?
Yeah, 'cause-
right?
Yeah,
I
Reckless.
mean, I understand where he's coming from. This man has gone through these things, and everybody's talking from a standpoint of like, y'all have been married, like you're not out here dealing with these women, with what's out here. And like this is coming from somebody. So before anybody says, oh, I'm alone, I've got a dope chick. But finding the right one, and like I've dated some really great women that just weren't a fit for me. So I don't have necessarily as doom and gloom, but 100%. The stuff that I started off with, the stuff that I've built myself, nobody helped me. My family didn't even help me. I did this. It's my stuff. So like what's coming in, there is going to be a prenup because I own things.
But no one, Reckless Ray, no one's against prenups, Like
but it's the whole like the selfishness piece. It's like no, I don't think people understand how hard, because like it's a generational conversation where it's like
Reckless Ray. Can you give us like more concise what you're targeting specifically? The statement that people who divorce are selfish.
I mean, I can agree that it depends on the nature of the divorce, but I know that people get petty and selfish when people divorce. People get petty and selfish when people pass away and stuff isn't clearly defined. You'll see siblings do the exact same thing. When money is involved and emotions are involved, people can get selfish. Now, yeah. I'm 100% for the stuff that is built together while you were together. You split that. She was there for that. She helped you ascertain that. The issue that I see when I see divorces happen is the divorces that I've seen, because I don't plan to get a divorce either. I mean, obviously the best defense is a strong offense. You don't plan to get divorced. But I have seen women go through a hormonal change that women go through and wake up one day and be like, I'm running away with my 14-year-old sweetheart. I'm leaving you and the kids. Oh, by the way, I don't want to work. To a man that set her up with everything, because I am in very wealthy circles. Just woke up one day and was like, I don't want to do this. What control did he have over that? Is he selfish for wanting to protect his stuff? And I mean, he got custody.
Ray, selfishness and protection should not be in the same sentence. We're not saying if you want to protect your stuff, mm-hmm. your assets, you're selfish. We're saying the root cause. Like I think, I'm sorry, not Reckless Ray, but I think Trey was saying that the leading cause of divorce was something money, right? And then, but he stopped there. He didn't consider what was underneath the money, right? Why is money the leading cause of divorce? There's a reason. It's not money itself doesn't make people do anything. Like it's how people view the money. That's what makes them do something. It's the people. So something in their mind. And so what's in their mind predominantly it's me. I'm just thinking about me. And so that would be called selfishness. In generally speaking, but it's in all things. It's not just money. No. If you divorce because you're sick of someone leaving the toilet seat up and leaving their clothes around, that's selfish, because that's not what you got married for. You didn't get married to simply divorce for idiosyncrasies. You got married to put up with those things for better or for worse. So it's all tied to selfishness. And I think Trey was missing. He was looking for you know, the manosphere red pill like statistic answer, but the manosphere doesn't hit everything, and sometimes they get things wrong outright. You know, the answer is not simply something that you can check in a box. It's what's going on in the minds of people. You know?
I mean, when it comes down to somebody trying to extract resources from me, I don't really care what they're thinking. I mean, like I think the issue is that when you're looking at it from a perspective of preserving self, is like if you take half the stuff or whatever and it gets petty and you're going and you're taking every single thing, you're taking the kids, you're utilizing the children as weapons. These are things that like our current court system that nobody is advocating against. I mean, nobody said anything about the wonderful thing that DeSantis did down in Florida by removing permanent alimony. Nobody wants to talk about that. Like that's an actual win. That's actual progress. Like we're setting up in a system, and like me personally, I do plan to get married for tax reasons, but like
So Reckless, let me say this, because this is what I said to Trey, and I think maybe you heard a little bit of it and maybe not all. When you go into a marriage, you need to know what marriage is about. It's a concept. It's a biblical concept. And if you go into that marriage with self-preservation, you are being selfish going in, and you shouldn't bother going in. I have listen, a prenup is definitely what you should do, but you need to understand when you marry a woman, biblically, through a marriage, it is you and her becoming one. She is no longer that other woman. You all are one. So we don't naturally just plan for the divorce. That's not the thought process of an individual who is getting married through covenant, through commitment, and through faithfulness. It's just not automatic. Now you could do your prenup, but
she's not saying she's against prenup. She's not saying there's something wrong.
But my question is, who plans for divorce though? Like, I mean,
what Security Boss is saying is like, when you get a prenup, she's saying one or the other. And Miss Security Boss, you can correct me if I'm wrong. She's either saying that by getting the prenup itself, which I don't think she's saying, you're considering divorce outright, or in the outset, or she's saying that there can be a psychological, almost like a power shift in your direction, because now you have the prenup, and it's going to look better for you in divorce, and so you can almost get the mindset of like, if you do this and I don't like it, there might be a consequence, hint, hint. So that's what I think. That's all she's.
I would honestly say, because I like to look at things realistically. The reason you have such a low, I think it's like 10 to 13%. Only that's the only amount of people that have prenups at all ever. It's like 10% of people even draft them. That's because look at the age at which most people get married. The age of first marriage for men is now like 30 point something. For women, it's like 29.4. Well, don't nobody got no damn money at that age. Not really anyway. College debt is out of control, right? You're not thinking about it. And we have all heard the phrase, when men love for real. We are not thinking about divorce. And remember what I said, when men do things, we do it in the terms to honor God, honor the woman, and really what it is about the prenup. This is why I don't really care.
Mike, I know you are also like many of us in that, like, there's some hard boundaries you can have with a woman. And if they dare try to test the boundaries, like you're not even gonna. It's not okay. That was chance number one. It was like that you have no other chances, and so I don't think you're considering divorce with that in mind, but divorce is the only consequence if you say like, this is, you will not leave my children home alone and while I'm at work, and you go out and just do something for hours. So you're going to draw a hard boundary with certain things, and it's not that you have divorce in the back of your mind. It's just there is no other way. It's either this way or we cannot work.
What leverage does a man have in any relationship with a woman aside from his willingness to leave and remove himself from her?
But before I answer that question, I mean, would you agree that you're also that way, right? You do have hard boundaries, correct?
100%.
Okay, that's fair. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So Reckless Ray, yes, you agree. Trigger Mike, are
Yep.
you also in agreement?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm sorry, Reckless Ray. Go ahead and ask that again.
Oh no, I was saying, like, to your point, I was like, what leverage does any man have in any relationship with a woman, period, aside from his willingness to remove himself from that woman?
None. And we don't really need it. So
Yeah.
when we look at it, the courts and stuff is trying to find a legal way to do what men were already going to do. The
Mhm.
bad part is that we don't like being told by other entities that we need to do something we were already going to do. If they took away child support today and women cared about being married to honorable men, nothing would change. As a matter of fact, you would get more. You would get
Yep.
more than the
Yep.
courts allow. Right?
100%.
Most men, like, I
Not,
forgot
though.
what.
I mean, because sometimes child support is like absurd. You know, so like we're talking 40-something% of a man's paycheck. Like, do the
Well,
math.
no, but the average payment is $400 a month. The
No,
average.
that's
Yeah.
think about the Trigger Mike. Think about
No,
that.
no, I'm not even talking about child support or the good part is, well, no, what I'm saying is men give freely. Remember when
But you said
men
more.
think about
You said men would probably pay more, and like,
yeah, they
yes,
would.
on average child support is $400, but people don't live in averages. They live in their one life, and that's it. So
yeah, what I'm really saying is that men would freely give to their children without
fair.
thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would freely give to the children, and even the woman, if like they left the woman, if they left the woman, I think what men have is compassion for the condition that we create. So that's benevolence only really comes from men when you think about it. I didn't understand what my dad was meaning when he said, or he couldn't be in the room when he didn't come in the room. He wasn't there yet when my first child was born. He said, "This is where it all changed. This is where you start to understand." And my dad's Nigerian. He just leaves stuff and leave you wondering, like, understand what? And then he explained later. When you watch that woman struggle to push your baby out, it just gives you a sense like, damn, she did this for me. I caused this. You see what I'm saying? So naturally, we feel indebted to you in a type of way. This is why when you don't see most men, Jeff Bezos gave out the largest divorce settlement in history. He never complained. He never wrote a tweet or nothing, because what we really realize is that men's God is not money. This is why we don't really care. Our number one cheat code in life is our resourcefulness, our ability to build ourselves and rebuild ourselves from nothing. This is why we're not always so willing to get a prenup, right? Or anything like that, because it's like, I'll be all right. Let my wife divorce me. She just kickstarted Trigger Mike 2.0, and I'm gonna be like, that's the spirit that most men have with these things, I think.
Hey, so Reckless Ray, what was your disagreement though? There's something.
Well, it just seemed like it kept circling around back to the whole he's selfish thing, and it's like this dude actually like went through a nightmare scenario for most men, and instead of acknowledging his experience and I understand after talking with him why he believes the way that he believes, and he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. Let that man have his whole harem of women, and he can get a dog and do what he does till the end of his life. He's good. He's already reproduced.
But is
like,
it,
I don't think
Ray will be married again within 5 years.
So Ray, what if he did go through a very tough relationship, probably harder than anything we've ever been through, and he's still divorced for a selfish reason? Is it fair that we can acknowledge his pain and struggle, but still also say that the reason behind it might not have been the best?
That's subject to. I mean, I'm not living in your home. Like, I don't live in your castle. I would never tell you why you should or shouldn't leave your situation.
Let's
I'm
say
not
he
you.
gave you all the details.
But hold on for a minute. Let's add something to this. What we were talking about is reasons why divorces happen. It wasn't Trey or a man or a woman. It was just across the board. So women typically, we already said it's 70%. They're
over
selfish.
Money.
Yes, when they leave their marriages. So it's not a man thing. So just understand that selfishness happens on both parties. So just if Trey suffered some type of traumas through some things that he's gone through, that doesn't make him any less if he takes that same mindset into a marriage and doesn't respond to what the marriage is supposed to be about.
But I think it's logical for a man who has gone through a divorce and has seen the carnage that could happen firsthand to go, I've got to be prepared if I should partake in this again. Like, generally speaking, you burn your hand on the stove one time, you put a mitt on next time you go to grab whatever it was that you burnt your hand on.
This is why it makes sense for Trey.
But
hold on real quick.
Sorry, Mike.
Hold on real quick, bro. This is why it makes sense for Trey, because no, like I said, most men, we have nothing around the time of our first marriage. If you do have something to protect, that makes sense. But the difference between most men after their first marriage is they have a legacy to protect, which means children. I have to now protect what is left to them. So and I believe even in biblical terms, you do protect what you intend to pass on. You are supposed to create that legacy and that continuation for your seed. So you cannot allow, and usually when we say second wife, that's personal. That's for you, right? So you shouldn't allow something that is purely, for you to interrupt what you have done from like your seeds, what you're leaving to your seeds. So I 100% understand that the second goal.
Yeah,
okay, so Reckless, I agree. One more second, then I'll let you do this. Reckless, I agree with you. It is very logical to have that thought process, but marriage in itself is a mystery on how a person and one man and one woman become one. That's a mystery. So there's no logic there. That is something you have to believe in and desire.
Okay, I can 100% agree with that.
That's the difference. That's the part where that's what we were talking about. And if you don't have that, or if you logically can't see that could happen, that's where we were saying you should maybe stay away from being married.
So I think in the times that we currently live in, like that's the generational gap then, is because we have the information. We're seeing now, like we're hearing and seeing what these men are going through. We're seeing this carnage happen. And so it's like, yes, for me personally, business reasons, I want to get married. But I know what could happen. I know what I see happen to men, not on YouTube, in real life. Like I know the devastation that a woman can cause after a long period of time for no reason. I'm seeing these things. Like I'm in these fields where I'm seeing wealthy men, just women are waking up going, I'm leaving. Yeah. And they provided everything. This woman hasn't worked in 20 years. Woke up one day, hormones have changed. I'm going to go do this. The opposition always has a say. And so the way that we have to come into this at this juncture, because there's so much information, we can go, especially if you're on YouTube, you can go look at there's whole YouTube channels, a whole YouTube sphere where they're teaching women how to finesse men.
But those are two. It's a valid statement you're making, but those are two different things. Women deciding to leave because marriage favors them is not the same with Trey having some trust issues and some baggage from his previous marriage, and therefore he should probably consider not stepping into another marriage unless you're willing. Like when you marry, it's my wife can go and open up a bank account, my name and social security number, and cash a check made out to me. That is what you open yourselves up to when you get married. So then if you have trust issues that you have yet to resolve, I ask you, Ray, why on earth would it make sense to you to get into another contract with someone that puts you in the predicament to where you can feel the same hurt again?
Before healing, it doesn't.
Correct.
Before healing, it doesn't.
And so
I personally have fallen victim to exactly that. Like getting out of a relationship, being messed up, going in and messing up somebody else. Yeah. Because you just out here doing what you do. Like I understand that piece of it. I just when it comes to like
your other part, I mean that's a fair complaint you make, and we can't go into the details of every reason like why. I mean, there's like courts make marriage advantageous for women. Marrying a wealthy guy is super advantageous for a woman. I mean, for anybody, like, I don't believe in, these so-called marriages between the same sex. It's not marriages between a man and woman, but if you want to call it that, like, those marriages also are sketchy, because the spouse can still want your stuff, whether it's two men or two women, right? It's just it's the setup. The setup is what really like turns people's aim to financial gain in a marriage. That's the issue. So yeah, they're the byproducts. Those women trying to finesse men, they're byproducts of the system, but the system is the issue.
Can I ask a question though?
Sure.
Do you guys think that, and this is speaking to the younger generation, do you think that dating or courting should be more intense than what it is right now? Should it be more deliberate? Would it help?
We need to take away dating entirely. Dating
I'm saying courting to marriage, for marriage. I'm not talking about dating to waste time.
When we need to go back into a system of courting, because one of the things that we need to pay very close attention is that it's very easy for our, let me not even say women, let's say our daughters, our sisters, etc., to be corrupted by the dating process. It puts pressure on them to have sex to keep the man around. Courting involved your family. It involved people you trusted helping you vet that man. The one thing the modern woman does not want to admit is that she does not know what she's doing when it comes to the dating process, and she cannot trust herself and her decision making.
Hey, Mike, and the crazy part is it starts early. Women start having intercourse. I shouldn't even say women. Young girls start having intercourse to keep a man's interest in high school. Like, it starts super early.
Middle school.
They say middle school. It is middle school. So listen, this is a good place. Listen, this is a good place. Let's read these super chats. And thank you, Sir Nakumbi, for your $10 cash app. Thank you so much. Great convo. But Clement Gray, thank you for your $2 super chat. He said, read Jeremiah 3:8. Even God divorced Israel. John the Baptist, thank you for your $5 super chat. In traditional relationship, women spend more time with the kids. Trey, what's up with you? How you doing? You've been quiet tonight, but Trey, mindset and words are his issues. Number one, as a man thinketh, so is he. Number two, words are spirit and life. Last, life doesn't give you what you want, but who you are. I like that. Thank you, Dre, for your $5 super chat. He says marriage is godly. It's a godly union with God. Godly principles. Trying to operate with your wisdom won't end well. It's a spiritual union where two become one, threefold. Thank you for that. And insightful truth. Wait a minute. Insightful truth talk with the doc. Thank you for your $10 super chat. And shout out to SB and panel mods and those in the chat listening in. A reality check, deep combo. Thank you. And again, Doc says, trust issues are for life. If you don't, all right, y'all hear that? Trust issues are for life if you don't do the work. And it will impact every relationship, including the one with yourself and God. If you don't do the inner work, denial will not allow the work to happen. So listen here, guys. We're going to end the show on that. That's a drop the mic right there. You have to get help for that lack of trust. So listen, Black man, shout out what you're doing tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to talk about the agenda and talk about our children, how they're being affected by the agenda. Is there an agenda? I think so. So we'll talk about that tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. If you have not subscribed, please go over and subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when we go live.
All right, guys. So listen, this has been an awesome night. It was good to be with you all a little longer. I'm going to be back on Wednesday night. I have no idea what time. So y'all know me and Mr. Boss going to put out something for you all to see. But look for me on Wednesday night. Go to Black Man tomorrow night, me on Wednesday night, and we can continue this conversation. We're going to add a little bit more to it. But until then, peace. Oh, and hubby and high value wife, is good to see you guys, and you are welcome to be here at any time. And anyone else that's the first time here, make sure you give us a thumbs up as you're coming into the live, and also subscribe to the channels. Thank you very much. Peace.
Please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to flow. It's so different with distance. We roam into zones where nothing get hurt anymore. I just wish I was home when I stepped through front door, but instead I'm alone and completely unsure. And even though you're screaming out with the best of intentions, I don't get it. Why do you always gotta ask me to stay? Why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. Say, why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. See, I've been lost in my thoughts, and my thoughts they too scared to usher off. Sorry, Mom, I just thought you were my world. Now you're not. And I'm just sitting, smoking, sloping in a daze, cause my days ain't been the same since I drove here. I remember the way you wrote letters in blue ink. You and me was in love. Think about what your crew think. I know your moms probably think I'm a bastard. Your pops probably want to beat my death and take a in my casket. But I got sick of fighting, bickering, fussing over nothing, cussing. Instead of watching the death of discussions that we once had, days that we once spent in the backseat of our cars, reading poets at sunset. It's funny how love can fall out the foreground, get pushed into the back of your mind. We used to twist a spliff and laugh and relax. Are you crying? And I'm trying to find the reasons, so I ask, does forever ever happen, or is it always fade to black? I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road. I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road.